Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Caroline and today is my last day in Dominican, Costa Rica. It's been almost 6 months I've been here. It's my last sunset at this beach. Time flies. Let's start with that. Time flies. That being said, whatever you desire to do, to accomplish, wherever you desire yourself to be, oh wow, the waves. Such big waves. Sorry. But whatever it is you desire to do, or whoever you desire yourself to be, don't wait. Don't wait. And first of all, the only time we really have is now. We can plan for things in the future. We know things are coming up. If you plan for things, you schedule them, sure. And that's by the grace of the Most High, you actually get there, right? So in reality, the only time we truly have is now, the present moment. There is no other time, really. There's the past, you know, things have happened. There's the future, things you wish to happen or things you foresee. And then there's now. And I remember when I was back in Canada during the fall, after a year away, and thinking of, okay, well, what's the next step? Knowing that I didn't want to spend the winter there. So I knew for a fact I was going to be somewhere warm and sunny and tropical during the winter. And I took a moment to sit down and make a list of exactly how I envisioned it. I knew I wanted to be in a yogic space. I knew I wanted to learn about hosting yoga retreats or how to run a place that hosts yoga retreats. And I wanted to do that because I've always had it I've always had it in the back of my mind that, oh, it would be cool one day to run a space like that, you know, to have my own space somewhere and host yoga retreats. But I knew that before I made the big jump, I had to try it. Almost as if, you know, let's say you know for a fact you want to get married, but before you get married you want to date, you know, to get to know the person and see, okay, is this a match? Do we vibe? Do we click? Do we resonate? Are we aligned? And so the same principle applied to me and that idea. I thought, you know what, maybe now's the right time. After all the experience I've had teaching yoga, traveling and teaching, now am I ready to make that big step? Well, first, let me date it. Let me see about it. And I did. You know, I made my list. I was thinking, okay, now is really the time. I'm feeling it. Let's try it. So winter 2024, I want to spend my time in such a place so I can see and experience it for myself and find out, okay, is this what I really want to invest myself into? And once I put it out there, it was clear in my mind. I didn't know where though. I didn't know the finer details, but I knew the big picture. And I let the universe take care of the little details. And so I went about with my life. I worked at a yoga studio back home in Canada. I did my thing. I followed my joy. I spent time with my friends, with my parents, etc., etc. Until the right time came for me to have the intuitive guidance, to look it up online, and it popped up and I had the opportunity to live it. And now that I did, I got my answers. But to come back to what I was saying earlier, act on now. Like, act in the present moment. And even if it's not exactly what you envision, it's not exactly that yet, maybe it never will be, but that's okay, because we have to trust our spiritual security team, our guidance, our inner guidance, our divine guidance our intuition that, hey, you know what, in your head you think you want this, but maybe no, you know what, that's not for you. There's something else that's more aligned with you, and you'll find out once you get it. But outside of that, act in the present moment. So if you know for a fact that, okay, this is what I desire to experience, let me add a little colors to, you know, the drawing that I have in my head, and live it in your mind. Like, truly, this is the concept of embodiment. Embody the person, the version of yourself that's already living it. And I was already in that mind space. Either way, I've been in that mind space for a while. As far as like, okay, being a traveling yoga teacher, I was already living in my luggage, you know, just going from place to place. And so it was easy for me, especially doing the yoga and having experienced what I've experienced, it was easy for me to just embody the fact that, okay, I'm working in that space that I desire to experience. And therefore, when it showed up, I wasn't surprised. I was happy. I was happy that, okay, I found the opportunity that would allow me to experience it. But I already knew deep down in my heart, I already knew. It was just a question of time for the right door to open. But I acted immediately. As soon as I knew in my mind that that was the next thing I wanted to experience as far as my career is concerned, I put myself in that mind space. I live as Caroline, who is in that space, who's maneuvering, operating from that space. You can already experience what you desire to experience at a later date, let's say. At least as far as the world outside of yourself, your 3D experience. It can be at a later date, but you can already live it now. You can already embody it now. Embody who you are as the person who's living it. Almost 6 months just passed, and they went by like this. And sometimes I think, man, no regrets, because everything I've experienced in my life, it was written, you know, it was to be my path. But I look back sometimes and I think, if I had acted sooner, who knows where I would be today. I don't stay with that thought, but I do have that thought sometimes, you know, because when I was much younger, I already knew. I didn't know about the yoga. I didn't know that's where my life would lead. But I already knew what I wanted to experience as far as where I want to be, on a tropical island by the sea. And I started, even though I had traveled as a young girl, I took that traveling seriously, or I committed to doing it much later in life, like in my end of my 20s. And I found different ways for me to experience, like, okay, what if I stayed in this area for a few months, okay? And then I found opportunities to allow me to do that, so I did. Then I hopped around a little bit, trying to find, okay, well, where will be my home? But it all came together once I knew that yoga teaching was the path for me. And again, like I said, no regrets. Sometimes I look back and I wonder, but it doesn't matter. Because what does matter is, once I knew about the fact that I was going to become a yoga teacher and traveling yoga teacher, I acted immediately. And I acted immediately on traveling at a time when traveling was not the thing to do. You know, 2020, 2021, 2022. Remember what was going on back then? Yeah, that. I didn't care. All I cared about was following what my heart was telling me to do. It said, pack your bags, let's go. And so I did. I acted immediately, because I knew in my heart of hearts, if I wait, by waiting, that means that I stay in a position that I don't truly want to be in, but because everybody is saying, you know, don't do this, don't do that, then I live according to what anything outside of me is telling me to do, versus listening to the true voice within me that's telling me, no, girl, follow this path. And by the grace of the Most High, never had any issues, no problems, no health issues, and everything went absolutely fine, and things move fast. When I tell you fast, the minute you commit, while you were going at, I don't know, maybe 40 miles per hour, suddenly it's going 60, 70, 80. It's like every door just opens up in front of you, just with ease, effortlessly. And in my understanding, in my understanding of tapping into our feminine energy, that's what it means when things come easy to you. You don't have to put in work. It's effortless. It's not that you absolutely do nothing. You just lay down on your couch and wait for things to come knock at your door, although they can, you know. But it's more in the sense of, because you're on your path, you're following your heart, it doesn't feel like effort. It doesn't feel like work. Matter of fact, when I teach, it doesn't feel like work. When I have to prepare for a class, it doesn't feel like work. I'm just doing something that gives me so much joy, and that I get to share with other people. And yet it is work, you know, like you have to prepare the class, you have to go out there, greet the people, give the class, and you're giving of your energy. But what I get back, because it feeds my heart, it feeds my soul, not just my pockets, then it doesn't feel like work. And because you're in your lane, it feels effortless. Like opportunities, the minute I decide, okay, well, this is what I want to experience next with my yoga career, things happen effortlessly. I'm just intuitively guided to either go talk to this person, or send this email, or go on this website and look this up, or effortlessly, and then the doors just open. And even the doors that I would think would open, if they don't, I know and trust that it's because there's something that's more aligned with me right now that's just right behind that opportunity, or it's getting ready. Like, Carol, be patient. You know, it's getting ready for you. And speaking of things getting ready for you, sometimes you feel the pull to go somewhere else, but you don't. Do you realize that maybe you are stalling somebody else's opportunity? Because maybe where you're at you don't like, but somebody else is just praying to be in the position that you're in, at the job that you're at, you know? So it's important to follow your heart, to follow your calling, because by going into your space, you're allowing another space to be available, and that availability will be for somebody else that it's most likely designed for. You know what I'm saying? To wrap this up, time flies. So whatever your heart is calling you to do, whoever you know you are, truly, deeply, be that now. Act on it now, however you can. I've already said in a previous video during my January 30-day commitment, like, when you embody who you are, you can start with little things. The same way that I knew I was going to be a traveling yoga teacher, I already started getting myself ready for the travels. And I was not even a teacher yet. I had no idea where I was gonna go. But I already started making big moves. I knew, okay, I let go of my apartment. I'm not renewing my lease. I'm gonna sell some of my stuff. I'm gonna give away some of my stuff. I bought, new luggage. I made sure my passport was on point, I just started getting ready for something that I had no clue how it was going to happen, but I just knew it was going to happen. So I embodied it immediately, just in the trust, knowing, having that unshakable faith that I'm making the necessary steps for whatever is coming. I just know it's coming. Like a woman being pregnant, you see her walking down the street, maybe her belly is completely flat. She knows she's pregnant. She doesn't have to tell you, but she's preparing for it, preparing the nursery, buying things for the baby. The baby's showing up in 9 months from now, but she knows now, so she prepares now for what's to come. She just knows it's coming. So even if it doesn't show in your life right now, being 2 weeks pregnant and you're like, okay, I have a flat belly, nothing is there's no evidence per se, like, you know, from the outside looking in, there's no evidence that a baby is coming, but you still prepare for it. You probably change your budget. You know, you gotta finance a whole new life that's on the way. But you just start making those shifts in your life to prepare what's coming, even without evidence of it. Do the same. There's no evidence, but you know for a fact there's a seed planted within you. Act on it now. Prepare for it now. Become that person now. Before the baby even shows up, people already shift into their minds that they are now a parent. You're still you, but there's a new version of you that you have to embody. Because you know you're gonna have to care for a whole new human, a little tiny baby human that will depend on you and you only, really, to survive, to make it, to live. So treat whatever you desire the same way, and you'll see one day you'll wake up, and just like me, you'll be like, oh wow, I desired this thing, I embodied it, it showed up in the 3D because I was already living it within me. But it showed up in the 3D. Now 6 months later, you're like, oh shit, already 6 months passed. Time flies. So imagine if we didn't wait. Don't wait. There's no point. Don't wait. Act now. Act now. Act now. You're pregnant with your dream. Okay? You're pregnant with whatever's in your heart. Act now. Prepare for it. Know that it's coming. It's on the way. Okay? Then one day, you wake up and it's right there in your face. So prepare for it now. All right. So on that note, I'll let you go. Thank you, Costa Rica, for being home for the last 6 months. Very grateful. And I'm ready for the next adventures. Going back to Canada for the summer. And I'll be making more videos once I'm back home. I'll have the time and the space to show you guys different things. So yeah. Alright y'all, thanks for watching.